So Humanity Forward, a lot of people were really like waiting with breathless anticipation about what you were going to do next. And tell us about what the organization's about and what you're up to.
Gladly. So Humanity Forward is, to me, the logical next step for all of the energy and people who are excited about the campaign, which is how can we get our goals accomplished when you're not running for president in that moment, or you don't have like a race immediately in front of you. So we get to do a lot of the things that we did on the campaign anyway, and hopefully start actually supporting local candidates in their races, which we haven't done as much as I want to. We were supposed to have an announcement about that this week, but coronavirus ended up taking precedence. So number one is supporting various candidates who are aligned with universal basic income and human-centered economy and other policies. Number two is content and telling the stories and just trying to open hearts and minds and move people along. Number three is fighting for data as a property right. And we're working on something right now that we think can actually help activate our data property rights in real time. Like not, hey, you should pass these laws, but hey, we actually can get this done as we speak. And demonstrating our policies in real life. Obviously, universal basic income is the most prominent. So there are all these exciting things. Like, just earlier today, I was looking at graphics for the new podcast, which we are entitling Yang Speaks. Hope people like that. And obviously, like there were times on the trail where we were like, ooh, we should have a podcast, but you don't have any bandwidth or time.
Yeah.
When you're on the trail, like you're just, running into the coffee shop or like running into, to speak, you're not like getting coffee. It's like there was a coffee shop in New Hampshire. So now we can do the things that we wanted to do, but didn't have the opportunity and can do them independent of the political cycle. Now, obviously, the coronavirus has changed a lot of things. I mean, it looks like we might pass some version of cash relief or basic income next week. And people are suffering all over the country, not just it's really nightmarish. Like the stories of what's happening to families in the US, it's like a waking nightmare if you look at it from the perspective of millions of Americans who right now have like complete uncertainty and anxiety about their future, complete anxiety about how they're going to feed their families next month. Like it's a disaster. And so in this context, I thought that we were going to give money away and use it as like a prod to say, look, this is what our government should be doing. But with the discussion of this week, now they're already there. Like it seems like, we're going to be getting checks. But we still need to just get money into people's hands as quickly as possible. So we've committed $1 million plus to working families. And obviously $1 million, you have to focus it somewhat. So we have identified 1,000 working poor families in the Bronx. And we chose the Bronx because it's an area that's going to be particularly hard hit, given that many of those people work in service industries that are shutting down. And it's also in the most densely populated area in the United States. So if there's any place you'd want to give people a bit of breathing room and the ability to stay home or like not have to be concerned about where they're going to get their next meal, you would choose someplace like the Bronx. So we're committing $1 million immediately, but we're also giving money away on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. And we're also partnering with One Fair Wage, which is an organization that's set up a relief fund for tipped workers who are primarily restaurant workers who've all lost their jobs over the last number of days. So those are the relief efforts we're engaged in right now. And if you want to donate, 100% of every dollar you donate will go directly into the hands of a struggling American family. There are no fees outside of, if you use a particular, I think if you used ActBlue, then maybe they take a percent or something like that. But 100% of every dollar you give us is going to just go into someone's hands. And we thought that this was necessary on several levels. Number one, we're in crisis mode and we just need to help our people as quickly as possible. Number two, we have to show our government that this is the right approach, that cash will work better than anything else. So those are the projects that we're working on right now. The relief fund, we will help local candidates like Jermaine as soon as we can. I would love to have some Yang Gang legislators around the country. It's so fun that way. The fact that there are people that are running on basic income and other elements of the platform. So that's what Humanity Forward is working on right now. And we should have announcements on the data side too sometime in the next number of weeks. I'm really excited about the organization and everything we're doing. It's great, and also I get to operate more instead of just being a talking head. So that's fun too.
Awesome. Speaking of people running, I've interviewed a number of folks on this show running for Congress on the Freedom Dividend. And a lot of them would love to get your endorsement. And I'm wondering, how are you thinking about how involved you are with those campaigns versus obviously like the corona relief stuff? And obviously you can't endorse everybody who's just pro UBI, but you do have a big voice and ability to kind of shine attention on candidates. How do you think about that?
Yeah, I've wanted to get behind these candidates as quickly as possible, and we would have started doing so this week if not for coronavirus relief. So we have like a list going, and the plan is to have a bit of like a questionnaire about their stances on particular things. Nothing onerous, because I hate like onerous processes. Like 3 simple questions, and then have a brief phone call with them, figure out what they're about. And then also, and this might strike people the wrong way, but we also have to figure out the context of their race, like whether they're one of like a bunch of candidates, whether they're running against someone that that people uniformly dislike, or whether there's someone that is running against them that's actually like pretty okay, so there is going to be some pragmatism attached to that too, where like it's not going to be helpful for us to just support everyone who supports universal basic income in races that aren't going to be and we don't need to win everything. I mean, obviously you're going to probably not win most things, but we just, even if we have a loss, we want them to be productive losses. Like my campaign, like technically I obviously lost, but I think most everyone believes it was a highly productive loss.
Absolutely.
So in the next number of days, hopefully we'll have like a fairly straightforward process up at Humanity Forward. And I'm not a big process guy. Like most of the people who are running, like we already know about and they've been in touch, or we've like DM'd or something like that. But we do want to help. Like I love the people who are running on the these ideas. Like I see them and instinctively want to help, and I know others in the Yang Gang also want to help. So we definitely should help. Like that's something I'm really excited about. I will say the first person that we're going to officially endorse, and he's going to have company very, very soon, is Jermaine Johnson in South Carolina. He's running for state rep, 80th district. He's a great guy, great candidate, and I think he's got a great chance of winning. And we're going to do everything we can to get him in office.